අංක 19 දොස්තර කාවින්ද ජයවර්ධන මෙවර ගම්පහින් වැඩිම මනාපයෙන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට.
Tonight, on First at 9 this Saturday the 9th of November 2024. Dom the Survivor, alleged Iranian asset charged by the US over a plot to assassinate US President-elect Donald Trump and murder Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka. Iranian Foreign Ministry denies claims. Powerful projections. President to transform the country's power and energy sector. Estimates a 30% reduction in electricity tariffs through reforms. Calling for clarifications. Former president calls on the government to explain its economic policy and vision. Accuses the NPP of double standards.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබා දෙත හැක.
කට්ට පරිස්සම් කරගත්තොත් අපි පරිස්සම්.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Singha joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now taking you straight to your top story this evening, the United States Department of Justice charged a suspect who they allege is an Iranian asset over allegations of a plot to assassinate then presidential candidate US President-elect Donald Trump. The suspect was also alleged to have targeted Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka. The 51-year-old suspect named Farhad Shakeri has told US law enforcement agencies that the assassination attempt was assigned to him by Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. However, responding to the allegations of the US, the Iranian Foreign Ministry described the claim as completely baseless. On the 13th of July, while addressing a crucial rally in the lead-up to the 2024 US presidential election in Pennsylvania, President-elect Donald Trump was shot in the ear as he stood in front of crowds at a fairground. According to the US's Secret Service, one bystander was killed in the shooting and two others were critically injured. The 20-year-old suspect, Thomas Matthew Crooks, who shot Trump, was shot dead at the scene by a US Secret Service sniper. 2 months later, on the 15th of September, Trump survived another assassination attempt where a suspect named Ryan Whelan Routh was aiming a rifle towards the US president-elect outside Trump's golf course in South Florida with the intention of killing him. The 58-year-old suspect was indicted on 5 counts in a South Florida federal court, including attempted assassination of a major political candidate. Subsequently, a United States sheriff said law enforcement officers likely prevented a third assassination attempt against Donald Trump after a man was arrested with unregistered firearms near the then Republican candidate's California campaign rally on the 12th of October this year. Against this backdrop, another plot to assassinate the US president-elect was revealed by the US Department of Justice. In a statement, the US Department of Justice noted that Farhad Shakeri, a 51-year-old suspect along with 2 other suspects, were charged in a criminal complaint in connection with their alleged involvement in a plot to murder a US citizen of Iranian origin in New York. The US Department of Justice noted that according to statements made by Shakeri in recorded interviews with law enforcement agents, the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps has tasked Shakeri with carrying out other assassinations against US and Israeli citizens residing in the United States. In particular, Shakeri has informed law enforcement agencies that he was tasked on the 7th of October this year with providing a plan to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump. During the interview, Shakeri claimed that he did not intend to propose a plan to assassinate Trump within the time frame set by the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps. The US Justice Department highlighted that Shakeri claimed that he was tasked with surveilling 2 Jewish American citizens residing in New York City and was offered $500,000 by an Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps official for the murder of either victim. Most importantly, Shakeri has told US law enforcement agencies that he was also tasked with targeting Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka. According to the US Department of Justice, Farhad Shakeri is an Afghan national and a reported operative of the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps who migrated to the United States as a child. However, he was deported around 2008 following a 14-year prison sentence for a robbery conviction. The indictment against Shakeri states that he was arrested again in Sri Lanka in 2019 with 92 kilograms of heroin in his possession. Further, Shakeri allegedly leveraged a network of criminal associates he had encountered in US prisons to support the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps by recruiting operatives for surveillance and assassination missions against their targets. However, today, the Iranian Foreign Ministry categorically dismissed allegations that Iran was involved in attempts to assassinate former and current US officials and described the claims as completely baseless. The Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson highlighted that similar accusations have been made in the past, which the Islamic Republic of Iran has firmly denied and proven false. He emphasized that repeating such claims at this juncture is a malicious conspiracy orchestrated by Zionist and anti-Iranian circles aimed at further complicating the issues between the US and Iran.
Horizon Campus 2024 Intake 2. Register now.
Union Assurance. Welcome to Cinnamon Life, South Asia's biggest entertainment hub, where awe awaits.
Sadaharita Plantations Limited, celebrating 22 years of your trust.
Sri Lanka decides 2024.
While highlighting at a major transformation in Sri Lanka's power and energy sector, President Anura Dissanayake pledges to reduce electricity tariffs by more than 30%. Addressing a public rally today, the head of state also revealed plans to reduce fuel prices in line with the electricity tariffs. A public rally of the National People's Power was held in Dambulla this evening under the patronage of President Anura Dissanayake. All politicians, regardless of their political parties, say the same thing. Some predicted that the incumbent government will collapse within 3 weeks, while others anticipated the government to collapse in 3 months. Some politicians claim that it would fall apart within a year. The NPP will not give up without developing this country. If any other political party other than the NPP obtained victory in the presidential polls this year, what do you think the general elections would look like? For the first time in this country, we are holding a peaceful parliamentary election. This is democracy. This indeed is a victory. We will clean out this country. We will end the era where political power is used to claim people's lives. All those who claimed the lives of the people who worked towards ensuring the country's well-being will be brought before the law. Certain politicians have stolen a large amount of public belongings. Investigations in that regard are almost over. As such, those involved could also be brought before the law. However, there are several minor barriers which can be eliminated following the general election. The corrupt will undoubtedly be punished by the law. We are aware of the concerns and issues faced by the public. The NPP will definitely establish an economy and a country in favor of the public, which ensures their contentment. A major transformation in the country's power and energy sector will be in place within a span of 1 year. Subsequently, electricity tariffs will be reduced by more than 30%. However, we need some time to implement those decisions. Fuel prices can also be reduced significantly, but that requires more time. We will definitely fulfill those promises. For the first time after 76 years, the people of this country have elected a government. As long as the people support the NPP government, no political party will be able to take us down. Meanwhile, former President Ranil Wickremesinghe urged President Anura Dissanayake to explain to the nation the government's stance with regard to the IMF agreement and the government's economic policy and vision. Delivering a special statement, the former president said that the incumbent president has made criticism and mudslinging his duty in the NPP's campaign trail without explaining the government's way forward.
IMF එකඟතාවය ආණ්ඩුවේ ආර්ථික ප්‍රතිපත්තිය රජයේ ඉදිරි දැක්ම.
The president should explain to the nation the government's stance with regard to the IMF agreement and the government's economic policy and vision. Without making a response in that regard, the incumbent president thinks his duty is criticizing others and mudslinging. They say that the parliament is a den of thieves. The theme of this year's election campaign is cleaning the parliament. All parliaments have their shortcomings. However, the president should keep in mind that this parliament passed the Anti-Corruption Act under my leadership. I would like to remind you that the National People's Power voted against it. When that is the case, how can they accuse the parliament of being a den of thieves? It is the NPP who are against catching thieves, meaning all of them are part of the so-called pack of thieves. Thieves cannot be caught by chanting slogans. Now the president and his ministers claim that they will teach the media what democracy is. I would like to remind you that it is the National People's Power who said that the Online Safety Act will curb freedom of expression. The people has challenged me to show at least 10 capable people who I can work with. That is not a difficult task. Some of them are working with you. You cannot take the country forward without them. I commend you for Hans Vijay Surya's appointment. He worked with me, he is talented, and please take advantage of him. There is a group of parliamentarians who worked with them. When all of you said that it was impossible, they took on the responsibility by accepting ministerial portfolios. Is it necessary for me to explain any further? The president also said that I will hold a placard near the Fort Railway Station after the 14th of November. I would like to say that I have never held placards there like them, and I do not have any such intentions. Our campaign will commence after the 14th of November. Parliamentarians elected under the gas cylinder symbol will take the necessary steps. Please keep in mind that the funds to implement the salary hike will be allocated via vote on account. I request that he agree on this without fighting. I will not be getting any of these funds. State sector employees will be getting it.
එකඟ වෙන්න කියලා මම එතුමගෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. මේක මට හම්බෙන එකක් නෙමෙයි. මේක රජයේ සේවකයන් ලැබෙන එකක්.
Now, leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, Sajid Premadasa, assures to revamp the existing agreement with the IMF in order to ease the burden off the back of the public if elected to parliament with a majority. Speaking at a public meeting, Premadasa vows to establish an era where public demands are met. Another public meeting of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya aimed at securing the party's victory in the 2024 parliamentary election was held in the Colombo Central Electoral District under the patronage of party leader Sajid Premadasa.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe is neither contesting this year's parliamentary elections nor he will make his way into parliament. However, he has to set up a new alliance to contest the general election. However, none of those members appointed are likely to enter the parliament. That alliance was set up to curb our chances of entering the parliament. The NPP requests the public not to vote for thieves. However, they don't mind sending deceivers to parliament. A majority of the members of the NPP are deceivers. They request the people to vote for the NPP so that the parliament will be full of those deceivers.
None of the pledges made by President Anura Dissanayake have been fulfilled so far. He does not utter a word in this regard. He is hiding from the public since he has failed to deliver on his pre-election promises. The public remains vulnerable to all issues persisting at the moment. The president could have fulfilled some of the promises he made to the public in order to strengthen the trust bestowed upon him. However, the people have already decided to cast their vote in favor of the SJB in the upcoming general election, paving the way for the SJB to obtain a majority in parliament. As the Prime Minister who will be appointed by the people's mandate, we will bring about an era where all public demands are met. Not only that, but in order to ease the existing burden on the people, we will also enter into a new agreement with the IMF once elected to parliament with a majority. Now in other local political news, leader of the Sarva Jana Balaya, Dilith Jayavira, claims that his alliance eagerly awaits the opportunity to take over the responsibility of the country and claim power when the opportunity manifests. During the latest iteration of a series of public meetings in the southern province, Jayavira claimed that the courageous opposition will not sabotage the government but will ensure that it heeds the preferences of his alliance.
A public meeting of Sarva Jana Balaya aimed at the 2024 parliamentary election was held today in Mathura under the patronage of its leader Dilith Jayavira.
5 out of 9 of my colleagues who ran for office with me during the last election have decided not to contest. The remaining 4 have joined various other political alliances. I am the only candidate left to lead the 6.9 million voters who voted in favour of former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. During this month and a half, the NPP government has shown us that they are in office to complete Ranil Wickremesinghe's agenda.
Our former president urges the public to send experienced lawmakers to parliament. He was an experienced lawmaker and yet he destroyed his party, which happens to be one of the oldest parties, while also destroying several others. Ranil Wickremesinghe also brokered the transfer of one of the last remaining mainstream political parties to Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. Dr. Harini Amarasuriya will likely be the next Prime Minister as well. Other members such as Sunil Handunnetti, K.D. Lalkantha, Bijitha Herath and Tilvin Silva are also suitable candidates for the position. They are qualified candidates and yet they have to stand in line behind the incumbent Prime Minister. That is because the incumbent Prime Minister has exclusive access to the list of tasks which former President Ranil Wickremesinghe failed to execute. Once she is reappointed to that position, Sri Lanka will have a Ranil Wickremesinghe government. There is no difference. We are here attempting to rescue Sri Lankan politics from the jaws of destruction and transform it to one which fosters collaboration. Please cast your vote in front of Sarvajana Bala's symbol, the medal, on the 14th of November. Afterwards, we can create a courageous opposition. Meanwhile, another public meeting of Sarvajana Bala was held in Ambalantota in the Hambantota district under the patronage of its leader Dilip Jayawira.
මේ අම්බන්තොට දිස්ත්‍රික්කය ඇතුළු බොහෝ දිස්ත්‍රික්කවල
In many districts, including Hambantota, people began to reject traditional political parties due to the reprehensible acts and conduct of several politicians. People refused to further sustain that vicious cycle of corruption. They did so with hatred since they were enraged. Even we were in pain and we kept asking why they kept destroying the country. So the public decided to vote the National People's Power into office, the worst of the all political alternatives. That does not mean that the 42% of all voters who voted for the incumbent president endorsed the NPP's agenda. This most recent election was driven by disappointment. The public made its message clear. However, the public needs to now rally to create the country they expect. That is why we are attempting to create the courageous opposition fueled by love and affection. This opposition will be bigger than the government. We sit idle for 5 years. We will try to claim power as soon as we are elected to parliament. The courageous opposition is not an opposition which will be satisfied with staying in the opposition forever. The courageous opposition will not evade responsibility when it is time to take responsibility. This courageous opposition eagerly awaits to take responsibility. It will take over as soon as the opportunity manifests. We will not sabotage the incumbent government. We will let them execute their duties, but they will have to do so according to our preferences. If the majority of the people support the opposition, the government will have to listen to the opposition.
Fast track your career from O-levels with eSoft.
After O-levels, start your Australian university degree in just 8 months with ACBT's Foundation Program. Enrollments close on 21st October. Call 071 115 1234 for Colombo or 077 011 3223 for Kandy.
Diabetol, සීනිවලින් පරිස්සම් වන ඔබට අමතක නොවන පෝෂණය. Prime Group ලංකාවේ ප්‍රථම වතාවට හඳුන්වා දෙන land leasing ලේසියෙන් මීටමක්.
Welcome back. Now, here's a look at more opinions expressed by politicians ahead of the parliamentary election.
නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා ඔවුන්ගේ තිබ්බ වරප්‍රසාද අඩු වෙමින් යනවා නිල නිවාස වීලා යන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා ඒවා නීතියානුකූලව සිද්ධ වෙන දේවල් අපි පරිගැනීමට කරන දේවල් නෙවෙයි මේ සියල්ල තුලින්ම මොකද්ද අපි පෙන්눔 කරලා තියෙන්නේ ජනතාව බලාපොරොත්තු වුණු ඒ පරිවර්තනය සිද්ධ වෙමින් යනවා කියන එක
අර රටේ මිනිසුන්ට දුන්නු පොරොන්දු ටික එකක්වත් ඉෂ්ට නොකර රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ආර්ථික වැඩපිළිවෙල ඉස්සරහට යනවා කියන්නේ ඒ අයට මොකුත් වැඩක් කරන්න තීන්දුව ගන්න බැහැයි කියන එක ඔබ සියලු දෙනාට මාස දෙකක් ඇති තේරෙන්න ඕන.
අවුරුදු 5ක වැඩක් සති 5න් අවසන් කරන්න බෑ. ජනාධිපතිවරයාට ජනවරම දුන්නේ අවුරුදු 5කින් මේ වැඩේ කරන්න. නමුත් ඔබ දැක්ක සති 5ට කරපු දේවල්. අපි ආපු ගමන් ඉන්ධන මිල රුපියල් 20 ගානකින් අඩු කරා. දීවර ජනතාවට ඉන්ධන සහනාධාරය දුන්නා. ගොවි ජනතාවට රුපියල් 15000කින්ම පෝර සහනාධාරය වැඩි කරා. විශ්‍රාමිකයන් හැමෝටම රුපියල් 3000ක් දුන්නා.
මේ ආණ්ඩුව නිසැක ලෙසම මේ මැතිවරණයේදී තමන්ගේ පාලනය අවසන් කරගන්නවා. ජනමතයෙන් අලුත් ආණ්ඩුවක් බිහි වෙනවා. ඒ ආණ්ඩුවේ බහුතර බලය තියෙන්නේ සමගි ජන බලවේගයට. අපි 113 මුල් වටේ නැත්තම් ප්‍රතිපත්ති වශයෙන් ගැලපෙන දූෂණයෙන් තොර කණ්ඩායමක් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා අපේ 113 හදලා බහුතරය පෙන්නලා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කටයුතු කරගෙන යනවා.
දැන් ওই කයිවාරු ගැහුවට රට වට්ටලා ගියේ. දැන් අපෙන් අහනවා කෝරට හැදුවද කියලා. අපි බාරගත්තේ ආර්ථික වශයෙන් බංකොලොත් කරපු රටක්. අපි දැන් ඒක හදන්න පටන් ගන්න තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ට හිතන අමාරුයි. අපට කරන්න බැරි නම් වැඩක් බාර ගන්න නැහැ. බාරගත්තොත් අපි කරලා මිසක් ඒක පස්ස බලන්නේ නැති දේශපාලන ව්‍යාපාරයක්.
අපි ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් මෙනෙහි අපි බොරු කියන්නේ නැහැ. අපි ජනතාවට කරන්න පුළුවන් දේ පුළුවන් කියනවා බැරිද අපි බැහැයි කිය. අපි අමාරු කාලෙක ඉන්නේ ඔව් ඇත්ත. මම අපේ පාක්ෂිකයන් ආදරෙන් ඉල්ලන්නේ. මේ ඡන්දෙදී අපිට අනුකම්පා කරලා මේ ඡන්දේ පාවිච්චි කරන්න යන්න. පොහොට්ටුවේ අපේ පාක්ෂිකයෝ ඡන්දේ දාන්න ඡන්ද මධ්‍යස්ථානට ගියොත් මට දැඩි විශ්වාසයක් තියෙනවා. දේශපාලන වශයෙන් කිසි කෙනෙක් බලාපොරොත්තු නොවන ජයග්‍රාහී ප්‍රතිඵලයක් ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොත්ජන පෙරමුණ මේ මැතිවරණේ ලබා ගන්නවා කියන කාරණය.
ඒ කට්ටිය කියනවනේ මාලිගාවෙන්ම පුරවන්න වෙන විපක්ෂයක් ඕනේ නැහැ කියලා. ඉතින් එහෙමනම් ඉතින් කාගෙන්වත් අහන්න හේතුවක් නැහැ. තනියෙන් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. කරගන්න ගියොත් එහෙම වැටෙන එක කලින් වැටෙන එක විතරයි වෙන්නේ. හැබැයි එකක් මට පේනවා මේ කොළඹ දිස්ත්‍රික්කය යනකොට ඔය හිතන විදිහේ ජයග්‍රහණ මාලිමාවට නම් එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක නම් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා හොඳ කණ්ඩායමක් ඉදිරිපත් කළා තියෙන්නේ. පළපුරුද්ද තියෙන එතුමා එක වැඩ කරපු මේ අවුරුදු දෙක තුල මේ රට හරවන්න වැඩ කරපු කණ්ඩායම. මම මේ හැමෝම වැඩ කරනවා දැක්කා. ගෑස් සිලින්ඩරේ තමයි වැදගත්ම දේ. මොකද වැඩිපුර සංඛ්‍යාවක් ඇතුළට යවන්න. එතකොට වැඩිපුර අපි වගේ අයට මේක ඇතුළට යන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා.
නියම එක්සත් ජාතික පාක්ෂිකයෝ වැඩි පිරිසක් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට යවන්න ඕන. ඒ අතර මේ පක්ෂය විනාශ කරපු පක්ෂ කෑව විශේෂයෙන් ජනාධිපතිතුමා හම්බෙන්නවත් යන දෙන්නේ නැතුව පවුරු බැඳගෙන හිටපු සමහරක් ඉන්නවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ පරදින්නත් ඕන. තමන්ගේ උද්දච්චක මත ක්‍රියා කරගෙන හිටපු අය නිසා තමයි ජනාධිපතිතුමා පෙරදුනේ.
වෙනදනම් කොහොමද ලංකාවේ මහමැතිවරණයක් කරනකොට කාර්යාල කඩලා හතර පන්තිනික අඩුපාඩු කඩලා තුනක් හතරක් පාවලා දැන් ඒව තියෙනවද? ඔය පිටරට ඉන්න අපේ යාළුවෝ අපිට කියලා තියෙනවා. අනේ මචං අපේ රටේ මැතිවරණ තියෙනවා. තියෙනවද නැද්ද දන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් ලංකාවේ පළවෙනි වතාවට 48න් පස්සේ මැතිවරණයක් තියෙනවා. තියෙනවද නැද්ද දන්නේ නැහැ. අන්න දින 40ක් යනකොට අපිත් හැදුවා පිට රට වගේ රටක්.
Sri Lanka decides 2024.
A Gazette Extraordinary was issued yesterday officially appointing the chairman and the vice chairman of the Alpiti Pradesh Sabha in the Galle district. According to the Gazette notification, Kolamatantirige Nishanta Pereira was appointed as the chairman of the Alpiti Pradesh Sabha, while Vagodapatirige Sumit Chandana was appointed the vice chairman. On the 26th of October 2024, Alpiti Pradesh Sabha election was held to elect 30 members of the Alpiti Pradesh Sabha. The National People's Power emerged as the largest party, winning 15 out of the 30 seats and securing 47.64% of the vote. Accordingly, the NPP obtained a total of 17,295 votes in this year's Alpiti Pradesh Sabha elections. In your business news, Sri Lanka has earned $185.6 million from tourism in the month of October alone. In its weekly economic indicators, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka noted that $2.5 billion have been earned from tourism during the first 10 months of this year. This figure is close to $1 billion increase compared to the corresponding period last year. 135,907 tourist arrivals were recorded in October this year. During the first 10 months of this year, 1.62 million tourists have arrived in Sri Lanka, which is a 500,000 increase compared to the corresponding period last year. And now here's a look at some corporate news in brief. HVA Foods plc, a member of the George Stewart Group, announces its distributor partnership with the Muggenberg Group in Germany, a family-owned company with over 80 years of expertise in high-quality herbs and botanicals. This partnership enables HVA Foods plc to introduce a unique spectrum of high-quality natural raw materials to Sri Lanka's tea industry, nurturing opportunities for value-added tea products while expanding into new markets. The Director and Chief Executive Officer of HVA Foods plc, Graham Stork, said that this collaboration further aims to enhance their product offerings and support the industry in exploring new avenues for growth. Meanwhile, Chairman of Nation Lanka Finance plc, Victor Ramanan, stated that the merger with Canrich Finance Limited, in line with the directives of the central bank, significantly increased the company's assets, adding substantial value to the company portfolio. In its annual report for the financial year 2023-2024, the chairman added that they operate in 40 business locations and the fusion of 500 million rupees in partial capital payments aligns with their mission to meet the minimum capital requirements mandated by regulatory authorities. Ramanan highlighted that the company aims to ensure stability and long-term viability, focusing on risk management, compliance and operational efficiencies. In other corporate news, DFCC Bank plc recently entered a memorandum of understanding with CodeGen Sustainable Solutions Private Limited, a solar power generation solution supplier. This partnership aims to address the growing demand for electricity in Sri Lanka through innovative solar energy solutions and to support sustainable development through practical financial and energy solutions. Of Other Derana First at 9. Stay in touch with us on www.otherderana.lk for the latest developments around the clock. Thank you. Have a great night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit otherderana.lk.